Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Chandra Zas Zen Odyssey. Food and mood. Heal your gut. All right, I have something kind of special for you all this month. I am going to spend February talking about relationships. And yes, relationships totally relate to gut health because relationships are often the source of a lot of negative emotions and a lot of pain and turmoil. Relationships are also a source of great feelings of love and joy and connection, but they are also a source of the harder emotions. Sometimes the more we love someone, the more it hurts to be in a relationship with them. So even every single one of my clients, there is some moment in our coaching program where we totally address relationships. And so I wanted to focus this month on relationships. Where does pain come from? Where does emotional pain come from? It comes from, just like every single other emotion that we all have, it comes from our mind. It comes from the thoughts that we think. And in relationships, it comes from the expectations that we have of other people. So a small little aside, when I'm talking about expectations of other people, I'm not talking about like employee relationships, and I'm not talking about parent-child relationships. These two relationships are different. There is a reason and a purpose to have expectations and consequences. These are excluded from what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about today is the expectations that we have of our friends, even our family, our partners, other people in society, our neighbors. It's really common, and it's crazy common. Everybody has these expectations of how people should be, how people should act. And when we have this expectation of how people should be, then we are setting ourselves up for emotional pain. This also totally relates to the expectations that we have of ourselves. If I expect myself to be a certain way and to show up a certain way, and I don't meet those expectations, then I can make it mean something horrible and feel something horrible. So I like to bring up a couple really controversial or different perspectives on how we can be in relationship with people. And one of the most surprising to most people is realizing and owning and really accepting the fact that people, we humans, all people, do lie, we do cheat, and we do steal. And that this is part of our human nature, it's part of our human species. It has happened forever before, and it will continue happening in the future. And it doesn't mean that the action, the behavior is not okay. We can have judgments of it and opinions, and we can have consequences because of it, but it doesn't mean that something's gone horribly wrong and that it shouldn't happen. And so when we go into relationships, like for example, I have a couple friends that I really love immensely, and they're almost always late whenever we hang out. And I used to make it mean that they didn't respect my time, that they didn't really value, my time that I was setting aside for them and our friendship. And I was getting really frustrated they were always late. But the thing is, if I zoom out and I look from this perspective, like friends are late, people are late to events. And if I have a friend that's always late, shouldn't I change? Isn't it better for me if I shift my perspective and accept that they're going to be late instead of always fighting against them and telling them that they should be late? It's a really interesting perspective. One of the biggest revolutions that I've had in this expectation of relationships has been with my mom. And I have made my mom and I's relationship really difficult for a number of decades. I really had a lot of expectations of how my mom should be. And I spent a lot of time being really angry and frustrated and disappointed and judgmental towards my mom because I thought my mom should be a certain way. And all this did was create a lot of disconnect between my mom and I. It created a lot of bad feelings for me. There was not really much upside to it. But I also didn't know how to get out of it. And when I started understanding this concept that my mom is a human and she has her upsides and she has her downsides, and when I accept her for who she is, and I accept that she's living her human life and she's doing what she wants and she's doing the best things that she thinks is the best for herself and for me and for everybody else, if I just accept her for who she is, then I get to enjoy her for who she is, and I get to love her for who she is. My personal relationship with my mom, the one that I have in my head, the one that I have in my thoughts and my expectations and my judgments of her, this relationship internally has changed immensely since I've shifted and really questioned and uncovered my expectations of her. And when I really let them go, and I was like, she's just a human, being a human, doing her human thing. And sometimes she messes up, and I get to love her no matter what she does, because I want to love her and I want to feel love for her. And she's my mom and I want to enjoy her. So this approach to almost always, we don't have awareness of the expectations that we have of the people in our life. And so the first bit of this process is uncovering what expectations do I have of my best friend or my mom or my partner, and are they realistic? Are they useful? And then the coaching work comes in is, when do we get to decide? First we uncover what the expectations that we have, and then we get to kind of rewrite them and deprogram them and have a different expectation. And when we change those expectations, we change the relationship, because we're changing the way that we're perceiving it. We're changing the way we're expecting it. We're changing what we're wanting out of it. And it's really, really relieving to allow people to be who they are. And in that process, the relationship with the self comes up, with myself. I get to stop being the way that I think other people expect me to be, or being the way that I should be. I get to be how I want to be. I get to feel free to be who I want to be and to create my life the way that I want to create my life. And it's okay that sometimes people don't like what I do. And this lowering of expectations is a game changer in relationships. And when we lower those expectations, we remove a lot of the unnecessary suffering that we cause in relationships. It was kind of a lot today. I hope that helped and something clicked, and I hope that it shifted a little perspective for you and opened up your mind to another way of looking at relationships. My teacher talks a lot about, she uses the concept, the manual that we have for other people in our life. And we have this secret written manual that has all these rules. And we don't tell the other people about this manual, and if they don't follow it, then we get really frustrated and, disappointed and upset with them. And so I wonder what other manuals you have in your life of the people that you love and that you want to feel connected to, but because you have this manual and they're not meeting this secret manual that you have, how much disconnect are you causing in your relationships? It's a cool game changer to look at relationships from this perspective. All right, I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful week, and thank you so much for being here as always.